is going down.
So a lot of times people are not getting the value. When to speak and when to be quiet is one of the most powerful. She's going to be aggressive, thinking that. And as someone who's been married for 12 years, she's driven, not lazy. And this will make yourself and get on the right path. That understand that you might be doing a disservice to your daughter if you don't help her understand vetting and proper decision making. Now she's going to be a basket case later. If you don't help her understand emotional intelligence, she's going to hold on to a lot of emotional baggage. If you don't. All right. Well, welcome to today's live. I am Mrs. Danielle DeVita. I am on Instagram on this camera, and I'm on Facebook and YouTube here. So if you see me looking in two different directions, this is why. And the lighting today is not as good as I want it to be. It's good here on Instagram, but I feel like I have an overexposure on my YouTube and Facebook, which is probably why when you see a certain level of shadow and darkness around my neck, that's probably why it looks different around my neck, or it looks like I have something in my throat. Now, I am a little bit under the weather today, as you can hear in my throat, so I do apologize, but just a second. So I got me something to drink. But I wanted to say thank you all for joining. You do not have to, watch me, but I appreciate the fact that you did. So either before or after the fact, if you're watching the live later, I appreciate it. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about positivity. Before I do that, if you do, let me get the link for StreamYard. So if you do want to be on camera, you can do that on my YouTube and Facebook. If you want to be on Instagram, you can request to join. But make sure you come correct, not over, have on proper clothing gear and not doing anything that is inappropriate. So I wanted to come on today because I wanted to talk about positivity. When I do my coaching, when I speak to different people, they say the things they do not like, the things they do not want. And all right. And they say, I don't like this. I don't want this. And men and women. But when you speak in the negative, it changes your mood. It changes your emotions, the atmosphere. It changes that energy. So again, if you're saying, I don't want to do this, I don't like to do this, I don't want a man like this, I don't want a woman like this, no nails, no this, no that, you just sound more negative. My goal is to help you be more positive. So you can still say what you're not willing to accept by being positive, which means you are going to say something like, this is what I want from a man or a woman. This is what I would like. This is what I expect. This is what I find acceptable. You can sound more positive than it is negative. So try to get out of using more negative terms like I don't like, I don't want, I won't. And I notice that it changes people's mood because then they kind of get defensive. They could be just saying, running down a list of things they don't like. And it's like, it changes your mood. Again, I talked about this in my podcast, but just imagine the HR person talking to you about a job and they're saying, I don't want someone who's late. I don't want someone who has an attitude at work. I don't want someone who's not going to dress appropriately. You're like, well, gosh. But do you notice that on job applications or when you're speaking to a headhunter or HR representative, they're saying, I want someone who is upbeat. I want this. I want that. They're saying what they do want. So by them saying what they do want, they pretty much let you know what they do not want. So again, good vibes here. Let's be positive. Let's not be so negative. Okay, how are you doing, Tyler, Granny? And also thanks for following. And then whenever you are ready, you can jump on or later. So I'm talking about this because I'm just hearing so much negativity, especially from women, because we are more vocal in about the things that we do and do not want from a guy. Men, sometimes I hear it as well. You know, I don't want a woman who has this. I don't want a woman who has this. But let's be more positive, because it sets a more positive tone. A lot of times men are saying they want women who are not combative, women who are peaceful. They want all these things from a woman, but you have to set the environment, set the tone. And part of setting that peaceful tone in that environment is being positive. I understand everyone's not going to be upbeat and have a dynamic personality. I wouldn't say I'm a super upbeat person. Um, but I am optimistic. I do like to see and view things with the silver lining. But because of my profession, I also see reality. I see things for how it is, what it is. And so I'm not naive in that. I have the kind of profession where I have to see the reality of things. I just choose not to see it always in a negative. I find ways to say, how can I look at this? Because if not, gosh, like if we really sat and thought about all the negative things, like we'd be in sorrow right now. And there are people out there just saying, I've given up on dating, men and women. Men going their own way, which is the MGTOW that you hear. Women saying, I'm either going to go to a completely different race, or I'm not going to think about men at all, or I've gone to the other side. So, and they're fluid in that. So I think that if you are more positive, it may change your tone, it may change your demeanor. You may appear more approachable to some people, rather than having negative connotations and having the resting bee face that people say a lot. And that resting bee face comes from, sometimes you're thinking in your head negative. Oh my God, look at these men, or oh my God, look at this, look at that. You're just thinking negative. So then it shows. Sometimes it's not that. It could be that you're focused. I talked about all of that on my channel about being approachable. And part of making yourself available for that is putting yourself in the atmosphere, in a position to do that. So who you listen to is important. The music you listen to, the movies you watch, and getting in the circle that you have, your circle of friends. Because if you have friends who are always negative, that's going to affect you as well. So all of these things are very important. If you've watched my video on Tuesday, I talked about a little bit. I talked about accountability. Well, if you always see the other partner or the other gender as something like they're the reason why the family is, they're the reason why Black love isn't here. They're the breakup for the family. They are the reason why femininity and masculinity is the way it is. And you're going to have people that's doing that and saying that because they see the world through a certain lens, through the negativity. But if you get to the point and say, okay, well, maybe it wasn't all like this, but I saw it this way because maybe I used other people's stories. Maybe it didn't happen to me, but I see what happened to my friend, my mom, this and that, and I see what happened to them. So I just assume all guys are the same. I assume all relationships are the same. Men, the same thing. You see, and you're listening to other people's story, and you take those stories as your own. And now it's like, okay, well, obviously, I think that this is how all women are. This is how all men are. And when you get to that point, there's no hope. You're just, now you've lost hope. You've gotten to the point where you're probably going to settle, because now you're either living in fear that just assuming that there's no good men. You did all that you could do. Well, that's not the case. So if you think that I'm perfect, I'm not. But if you think that I don't have a story and I've never gone through things and realized, there's things I can do to change, then you're wrong, because I've had to come to that realization. Okay, well, maybe I can change. Maybe I can do something different. And when I did something different, things did change. My marriage changed. how I view, the world and people change. So I hear a lot of people say, well, I did this for a man. I changed this for a man. The whole goal is to change so you can be a better version of yourself, which means the person that sees the change should not only be your man, but it should be other people. Other people should see that you have changed, men and women, family and friends. Shoot, even your enemies see that you changed. And that's when the real change has occurred. And again, I'm sorry about my throat. All right, I'm going to put you on, Granny. So we do have a guest today. It may take a minute to come up. If you're on Facebook and YouTube, you will not be able to see the video, but you can hear. Hey, how you doing?
Can you see me?
Yes, I can. I'm just turning up the volume. Yep, I can see you just fine. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, girl.
Well, you look very cute today.
Huh?
I said you look very cute.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I guess it messed up my view. Give me a second.
You look beautiful too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All Hello, right. Everyone. It's been a while.
Yeah.
They blocked me from going live on my main page, so this is the only one. I have to go live on the Granny page. So.
Okay. Sorry about moving my camera. I'm just trying to get where I can be.
Gotcha. Okay. I got to do the same thing, maneuver just a little bit.
Okay. So hopefully everyone can see me well. All right. So, and okay. Okay. So I am so glad you came. Thanks for joining. So just in case you didn't know a little bit about me, I'm a contributor on the Philip Scott Show. So I do a few videos and post some of my content there. I saw a video or an interview that you had with him, and I actually had a question because it's two things that you said. One, you said I'm a little different than how most women think, but I kind of saw where a lot of women were feeling you. They understood where you were coming from in a lot of situations, not in just that one instance, but in general, how you view things, your perspective on things, and a lot of people seem to agree with how you were responding to some of the questions that we're asking. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And the reason why I say that I might think a little bit differently is because anytime I do pass my views, a lot of women don't think like me. Like, they make it seem like the way that I think is irrational, like kind of like how they have that idea of us being problematic, or we cause a lot of conflicts. We like to argue, or we don't want to submit. We don't want to conform to like the relationship. So most of the time I have to make it clear that I'm not going to be that traditional woman that men are seeking. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just make sure that I let everybody know, like, I may not think like every other woman, and that's okay. And I'm comfortable with that. And I know that, so I just put the little disclaimer out there because a lot of people try to attack me for the way that I think.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you clearing that up. It was, I talk about this on my channel about the hindsight 2020. And you were speaking about your situation with the ex that you had. And you said that, he was a good guy for a year and a half. And then all of a sudden something happened. So I kind of wanted to go back to that because I honestly preach a lot about men aren't that great of an actor. Hollywood isn't flooded with a whole bunch of men, and in particular, Black men being this great actor for such a long period of time before they snap. So, but I know he didn't ask a lot of questions about, because you said that before he started to be aggressive, in the physical, there was some verbal. At what point in that relationship, how long was the entire relationship from beginning to physically leaving the relationship?
Me speaking to him, it was about like us dating was about a year, and then us actually being together was about maybe 2.5.
Okay. So from the time that, so you're saying from the whole romantic part was 2.5 years.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, 2.5 is like from where we said that we were together up until we were no longer together.
Okay. And
But it
then
actually came out of our mouths that we were in a relationship. Yeah.
now when you said for a year and a half he was good, you mean during the actual romantic part, that year and a half?
Yes.
And so, and I guess I just want to understand in that, so you knew him a year before that, and then romantically a year and a half.
I knew him. Well, I met him 2.5 years, like maybe 2 years before we actually started dating. Like before we actually really started talking. We had mutual friends, so we would run into each other. But when I first met him, we didn't conversate in that type of way because he had a girlfriend
Okay.
and he was very
Okay.
public about being in a relationship. So he wasn't someone that I was looking at during that time. And it wasn't until when we did start dating, I did ask him if he was single because the reason why we didn't try anything before is because he had a girlfriend and I respected his relationship. And I was like, oh, okay, shit, you got a girl? Hey, I'm cool, you know? But then the next time that we actually linked up, about a year or two later, he wasn't in a relationship anymore.
Okay. So now, in that particular relationship, at any point was he verbally mistreating you in that year and a half that you said everything was great? Was there any type of verbal mistreatment? Any red flags?
There were some, but I also came with some too. So I would say we would get into our arguments, and that's when I was doing a lot of like my shadow work and learning about why I was being triggered the way that I was. But it didn't really get too out of hand until like literally the last. I just think he became really insecure. So it was like it was cool. I saw little signs, but it wasn't nothing that I felt like was abnormal. I understand that people get attitudes. I understand that people might say things out of anger or, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like what I chucked it up to be is like, this is what normal people do. They fight, they argue, they say things they don't mean, then they make up and things go back to being cool.
Okay. Okay, because it makes more sense now. So you to you it wasn't abnormal, but the signs were there. Because I guess I was like, man, how can someone be perfect and there's no error, no issues, and then bam, something happens.
So in the beginning, it was really smooth, but it was because I didn't really press him too much about like spending time, being together. It was like I was working, he was working. When we would spend time when we had time, you know what I'm saying? It was like that. I wasn't really pressing. His behavior started to change when things were being brought to my attention. And so let's say if somebody sent me something of a girl who he was dealing with at the same time, but I didn't know that that's what it was. So when he figured that I was about to catch him up, he started to shift. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was like the only time we would really fight or argue was if I found something out and I was questioning him about it.
Okay.
The first time that I really ever had like a really bad red flag with him, it was I was driving one of his cars to the store. I would always take he had two cars. I would always take his car that he never drove. I would always take it to the grocery store and, just do like little errands and stuff in it. And I specifically remember looking in the glove compartment because I was looking for a pin. I looked in the glove compartment. I found an old condom wrapper. It was old as hell. It was all crumbled up, but it still had the condom in it, so it was dry as hell. And I was like, this old ass condom. I threw it back in there, and I was looking through the stuff, and I didn't find anything. There were no more condoms. There wasn't a box of condoms. There wasn't anything in that glove compartment. Then when I came back about 2 days later, I remember that he took that car because it had gas in it, and he didn't feel like putting gas in his other car. So when I got in the car after he used it, I found condoms in that new condoms, ones that weren't there 2 days ago when I looked, and I sent him a picture of the condoms, and I said, hurry up and come back to your house, because honestly, I know that these were not here. And if we're going to be stepping out and doing that, then I don't want to be a part of it. And so I was waiting for him to come home because I didn't have the keys to his house to lock his house up, but I would have left, And he came back, he was drunk, and he was very, very, very aggressive. Like, he didn't put his hands on me that night, but I was very fearful that he would. And because he was drunk as hell, and he was just mad at the fact that I even questioned why he had condoms in his car. But now I know, you know what I'm saying? I'm not stupid. But because he was so upset, it was kind of like a say anything, like, okay, if you say that you didn't do that, then whatever, it is what it is. But after I noticed that he was doing something, it was like his behavior after that one incident just became, like, it was just evil. Like, because he knew that he was either about to get left or he was like on the verge of getting caught. And yeah, so that's when his behavior just started to change.
So why not leave then?
I think it was more of a, you know how people be telling us that we don't never want to like support a man while he's at his lowest, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, at this moment in time, he had lost both of his grandparents to COVID. Money was weird. It wasn't completely cut off. He had money. It just wasn't guaranteed as well as it was a couple months prior, because COVID was shutting everything down. And I didn't want to leave him because I didn't want people to think that I left him because he lost everything, or that he was losing everything, or that he didn't have money, or he didn't have this. I didn't want to be that person. I really didn't want to leave him. I didn't. We had way more at that time. We had way more good times than that one incident, or the 3 arguments or 4 arguments that we had. Like, we had way more good stuff at the time. So it was a lot of stuff like, okay, so do you want to leave him? Because at the time he wasn't putting his hands on me yet. So it was like, okay, leave because we had a slight disagreement. Then when he wasn't drunk anymore, he apologized for his behavior. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he was just drunk. Like, but this is like my really my first time dealing with a situation like that.
Like that.
Where it went really fast. Like, it wasn't something that took a while for him to go from that argument right there. I think he put his hands on me probably like maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks after that. So It went really fast. Like, one day we didn't have any problems, and the next it was a million problems.
Okay. So now I did I talk about crossroads. And for me, crossroads are when you get to a point in a relationship that there's a deal breaker in a relationship, something you don't like, whatever it is, big or small, that you just address it with the person. And you say, this is bothering me. Can you stop doing this? Or this is bothering me. Can you start doing this? Whatever the situation is. Have you had that kind of conversation? So then he'd know if you did leave, it would be because of that particular conversation. That at any point in your relationship, have you had any type of crossroad?
I explained to him the one thing that would make me leave, and it was to find out that he had another woman. That was my, okay, if I really find out you got another woman, like you're really out here, like you have another girlfriend, or at the time, that is what I was saying, that was the limitation. We had a discussion like that, but I never thought that all the other problems that we faced, like I didn't even see those being a thing. Cheating has always been a situation in my relationships. I even felt like we could get past cheating. Even after I said that, I felt like we could get past cheating. But the thing we couldn't get past was more of the physical.
The aggression. Okay.
It stayed because, yeah.
So
we had a conversation.
That relationship was a while ago, but it was one thing that you said that I think Phil asked about do you want to be married? And you said, I can see myself in the future being a wife. Do you remember saying something similar to that? Do you still feel that way? Do you feel like, one day you want to be a wife? What's your if you don't mind me asking, what's your ideal husband, or what's the ideal marriage? What does that look like to you and your ideal husband?
My ideal marriages would just be two people doing what they love with who they love. I understand the sexual nature of our kind, like even just knowing myself. Like I said, I don't think cheating is really I know that I could be faithful 100% if I wanted to be. And I feel like because I can do that, I feel like other people should be able to do that too. I don't expect them to be that way completely 100%, but we at least need to be open and communicate about what we want. So I think my ideal relationship would just be an open and with someone that I can communicate with, and someone I can talk to, someone I can confide in, someone that is going to choose me first or choose our marriage first over whatever they choose to do out there. Just always make sure that what you have here with me is good, stable, and secure before you decide to go do whatever it is that you're doing. My ideal husband, I would like a fine husband, girl, but I would just want him to be open, be honest, communicate, aware of his health. Like I want him to be nice and fit, because I'm gonna be nice and fit, and our family's gonna be, healthy and all that stuff, because that's how you live a long life, a long, healthy life. And yeah, I just want somebody to just be open and love on me. I can love on him too.
Okay, so this ideal marriage, this ideal relationship, what happens if, and I'm pretty sure you've had this question often, but let's say this ideal husband, he is meeting all of the things that you just said. What if he wants, kind of like what you said with your previous boyfriend, what if he wants you to not do granny too thick anymore? How would that play into it? Because I know at first you mentioned you did it for money.
If I had Granny while, like, when he met me and he knows about her, I don't expect you to try to change anything that I have going on. Like, honestly, if you really support me and you support what I do and who I am, you don't want to get with anybody you want to change. And to me, if you come in thinking that I'm going to stop something just because you came into my life, you came in with the wrong mindset.
Okay. So this is something you want to keep doing. This is
if that's what I decide to do, if I decide to drop Granny just because of me, it's a different story. But if you're telling me that this is a thin line, like I'm not going to stay with you if you decide to continue this, then I'm not the woman for you.
Okay.
If I decide to make the change, I make the change, but not just because you don't like it. Don't try to change the people you plan on being with for the rest of your life.
Okay. And I asked because I'm pretty sure you get that question often, like, hey, what if the person you want to be with wants to be with you and not have, anyone else have access to you? I mean, our internet is there. Internet stays. It's probably not going to go away. But, I think it's similar to the situation of Phil was asking about, what about someone's past? Well, this is the present now. So what if someone just wants that change? But you're saying, however you are now, it is what it is. And whoever comes into your life just needs to, incorporate all the things that you do have.
Exactly. Because I'm not going to try to change you. If I feel like there's something that you're doing that I do not agree with and I can't live with it, I'm not going to say, you need to change this if you want me to stay in your life. I'm going to be like, look, I see that we have some differences and I don't want you to change. I want you to be who you want to be, but maybe this is not right for us. Maybe we were meant to be friends.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that.
Now, do you have any children?
Mm-mm.
Okay. If you do have children, do you feel like this is something if you do have children, if you happen to have children in the future, Does this change what you do? Does this change anything?
No.
Okay. I'm asking because a lot of people, different things have different perspectives.
I don't feel like anything I do endangers anyone. I don't think that, I mean, more than anything, I feel like it'll be like a door to open for other people. I think that I'm one of those people that just believe in, do what you want to do, be yourself, and who supports you, and who doesn't, doesn't. My kids, they're not going to be judgmental kids. They're not going to be the ones saying, oh, you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you shouldn't be doing this. Like, no, they're going to be just as free to do and choose what they want. And they're going to have to learn and accept who their mom is and who she was, because they're going to have to battle that. If somebody got something negative to say about about their mom to my kids, at least they know, and it's not something that they're just finding out. They're going to know who I am. They're going to know what I do. They're going to know how I do it. So once they're old enough to understand, but I don't feel like it endangers them at all. Your kids are exposed to what you expose them to. That too. So, just monitor what your kids are watching and who they're around. And if you don't want them around certain people with certain opinions, keep them away from them.
Okay. I asked because I don't know if you remember, there was a video about a woman who, I think her son was maybe a teenager or middle school or something. And he didn't know that she had an OnlyFans. And the other kids in his school was saying, is this your mom? And that's how he found out about it. And I'm asking because a lot of times people don't consider either their children and how their children could see it, how their family could see it, especially because a lot of people don't let everyone know. They're not as open and free as you letting everyone know this is how I am. A lot of times people do keep it a secret because it's something they want to do. But I remember you saying that you OnlyFans was something that you got into because the boyfriend you had was costing you money. So this was a way to get money. But then now after you've gotten money, this isn't a money thing anymore. It's because you like doing it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something that, because the money is so good, it's like, why not get the extra money? Like, I think my biggest goal, like when you talk about children, it's to make sure that my kids can come into this world and be who they want to be. I don't want my kids to have to struggle, or I don't want them to have to feel what I felt growing up, as far as like my mom not having enough money for us to do everything that we wanted to do. She did a really good job, but there were things that all of my friends who had two parents that they were able to do that we weren't able to do. I just want to make it to where my kids can be who they want to be. And if that means I got to show my ass on OnlyFans and do whatever I need to do to get us to that position, for me to open up these businesses, for me to do this, they're going to understand the sacrifice that I made for us. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's not going to be something that I hide. Like, I literally have pictures, my modeling pictures of me half naked hanging up in my house now. It's still going to be the same thing. It's like people try to hide things from people, but you guys don't even understand. Like, kids right now, no matter what their parents are teaching you, they're being exposed to sex on Cartoon Network. Okay? I was watching Cartoon Network the other day, and they literally had a Pride episode with two girls kissing, talking about you love who you love. And you can be trans and you can be this, but they're already exposing the kids to sex. So what are we worried about? It's like they're going to find out eventually. I'm not worried about it at all. Okay. It's literally, I love the money and I love the freedom that it comes with. And I love what it can do. And I feel like me doing what I'm doing has put me in a position to where I don't have to answer to anybody, and I just do my own thing. And I like that.
Okay. Now I saw on your page you said that you sing and you do songwriting. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Do you also do that on Instagram? I didn't see it on Instagram, but do you do it on your OnlyFans page as well, singing? No. Okay, because I remember you were mentioning that OnlyFans started out for those who wanted to sing and things like that. Did you start out wanting to do that?
Not for singing, no. Not on OnlyFans. I knew where the money was with OnlyFans when I first started it, because I had something called the It Girl or something like that. It was, I forgot the name of the first one that I had. It was like OnlyFans, but it was a different name. And I knew where the money lied with OnlyFans, but my first initial understanding of what OnlyFans was a way for you to connect with like your different artists and stuff like that. But when I heard that the porn stars and stuff and the models and stuff got into it, and then they were making a whole lot of money, I was like, well, shit. Oh, it was called Is My Girl, and Is My Girl was more for girls with bodies and models and stuff like that. And then OnlyFans was made for like August Alsina and Usher and like, you know, people who wanted exclusive content and exclusive access to their favorite artists. And that's how it started off. And then once I heard that girls like me were making really, really good money over there, I was like, okay, so in my mind, OnlyFans, I wasn't thinking about music. I was thinking about modeling and stuff.
Okay. Do you do modeling outside of OnlyFans?
I used to, until I got into my relationship and it became a thing where I was doing things for attention, or, you know, because he kind of stopped a lot of that. And then last year, once I finally started to be comfortable again with like being myself, because he had broken my self-esteem down so bad that when I finally became myself again, that's when I got hit with the lupus. And yeah.
Okay. Now,
wow.
You mentioned that a lot of things change in how you view toxicity in a relationship because of your lupus. Is it so? Did things change, like your perspective change about relationships, or was it because of lupus and the result of what could happen? You know, any toxic situations that can cause a flare up. Is that what changed it?
I would say before I realized what was wrong with me, I already had an idea of what I would deal with and what I wouldn't deal with. I felt like the lupus kind of just made me own up to what I was already thinking. Like, you say that you're not going to stand for this anymore. Well, guess what? You really can't stand for it anymore. You can't take this abuse and this emotional manipulation. You can't take that anymore. Like, you say that you're not going to deal with this, but now I'm put in a position to where I really can't deal with it, even if I wanted to. I don't want to deal with anything like that. And I feel like it started right before I even found out I had lupus. I already had it in my mind that I wasn't going to deal with certain things. But I feel like the lupus helped me enforce it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So do you think, like, have you dated since, or do you just do your own thing?
I have really good relationships with people. Like, I have healthy male relationships in my life. Like, I have really good friends, and then I have people who do like me romantically. I've kind of already told everybody where I'm at. I'm just still figuring out my life and myself and my condition. You know what I'm saying? So I have dated and I've tried to date, but because of the reactions I've gotten, I've kind of had to say, okay, just so you guys know, we cool, but I'm not really with you. I'm not with anybody, because one day I might be responding and the next day I'm not. I might be sick. So yeah, dating is weird now. It's weird.
No, you said you're trying to figure out where you are. When you mean like where you are in your condition, or just in general with life, finding yourself?
With my condition more than anything, because I have to pay attention to my body in ways that it takes a lot of alone time. Like, so I'm just trying to find out, how am I by myself? Like, me managing it so well right now. So
I think the Wi-Fi.
on there. Oh,
Okay, there we go.
Are you
You're back
there?
up.
Okay. I forgot what the hell I was saying. What was we talking about?
You were saying, because I asked the question about, is it that you finding yourself, or is it the lupus that you're trying to see where you are in your condition?
It's more of the lupus, because I'm in a position where I have to find out who I am by myself right now. I need to see how well I can manage this condition on my own without any outside influences or people near me. Like, I have to figure out how is it and how is it supposed to be. If I'm mentally clear, if I'm eating right, if I'm taking care of my stuff and I'm not stressing, how is it? Then I can, once I figure out all of that, then I can bring somebody in. And if they're causing me to be sick or have more flare ups or something, I'll know, like, look, okay, this isn't really good for my health right now. You're either stressing me out or you're doing this or I'm feeling this way around you. Like, it's like I have to figure out my body first and then I could bring somebody in, because you trying to do it, you never know what type of outside influences are causing you to have your flare-ups. Like, I literally remember I used to feel good when I left my boyfriend. Like, I used to feel good as hell. Like, but the moment I was driving back to his house, the thought of me even being around him or being under him physically made me sick. It made me sick. I remember looking him dead in his face, like, I think you make me sick. Like, literally, I would tell him that. I said, I think you are making me sick, because every time I was away from him, I was fine. The moment I get to his house, it's migraines and I'm not feeling good. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm like, ugh, you know? And so
stress, the stress cause a flare up? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. So you're saying a lot of the changes that you've made in your life was because of your condition. You've had to learn to how to deal with stress, how to not have toxicity in your life, toxic relationships of all kind. And you want to get to the point where you know where you are in that process before you add to it, so you know how to maneuver around that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I see. Well, I know a lot of times people have different, when they look back in their previous relationships, they can see where did I do wrong? Where can I have changed? What do you have that moment where it's like, there's some things I need to change about me. There's some things I could do better. There's people I don't need to have in my life anymore. Friends I probably don't need to have in my life. Yeah. I'm going in a different direction. Do you see yourself seeing that, having that mindset?
Yeah, that was me all last year. I cut a lot of people off. I cut a lot of people, a lot of friends. I cut my ex off. I cut my dad off. I cut a lot of people off because I did have that. I realized and saw what real love and support was, and the ones who were not showing me that, I kind of just let them go. And when you say, like, do I see myself as like, there are things that I need to change. I know that there are some things that I may need to change. But for some, I don't know why I think, and it's going to sound so crazy, but I think that every person should view themselves as perfect. And if you want to change, it's something that you want to change. I don't see much in myself. The only thing that I would probably change about myself is I don't want to be such a loner, but it's kind of required right now. That is the only thing I would change about myself, is how much time I spend by myself. It's probably the only thing, because I feel like I'm not even allowing, but I feel like it's a strategic thing because of my health, but I'm not even allowing people to get to know me realistically. I have the people who I have, and it's crazy because I don't know if I found him yet, but I stopped myself from getting to know people. Like, I freak out. Like, I was supposed to go on a date, and I freaked out like 2 hours before it. Like, I was calling my homegirl, like, I need to cancel it. I don't know what to do. And then I ended up canceling the date. Not even, he seemed like he probably would have been a really good guy. But something just told me, like, no. It's like I have a social anxiety now. I just get so scared. I'm really scared.
No,
I want to take more chances, but at the same time, it's like, how do you?
I mean, well, the only way you can is to get out there more. Being in your home, you won't be able to see that. But it's something you said. You said that you think people should first see themselves as perfect. And And I feel like a lot of people in society already see themselves as perfect. They think that it's like this level of entitlement, men and women. Like they think that they're all that, and they're not really all that.
Sometimes when people do that, that's how you see their biggest insecurity. That, like, people who just seem so full of themselves and so sure of themselves, because I'm not going to display that most people there, if they look at me, they probably would think that I don't see myself as perfect. Like, a lot of people, the way that they talk to me, it's like they feel like I would change myself to accommodate them. But in reality, I feel like I am such a blessing to have and a blessing to be around. Like, some people, they do it, like they project their insecurities through how confident and loud they are. When people like me, we can kind of just sit back in the corner and we are perfectly fine exactly where we're at. We don't need people to notice us. We don't need people to give us props and give us our flowers, like, because we already feel so secure within ourselves. Like, we already see ourselves as higher. So if you don't see it, it's okay. We don't mind, you know? And like I said, and if there are personal goals and stuff that you want to achieve and you want to change about yourself, you can do that. But even through your transition, you should still think of yourself as perfect, because you are who you are for that moment. You can always be better tomorrow, but if you didn't like who you were yesterday and you changed that today and that's who you are today, then you should be good. But a lot of people, they be insecure. My ex, he was the loudest motherfucker in the room and he had the biggest insecurities. Girl, I'm talking crazy insecurities. Like, he was befriending people who he thought I would like, or like he befriended my ex-boyfriend when he found out he was my ex-boyfriend. Like, he was like, the whole time he never looked or anything. And then one time I gave him a hug, but that was like my first boyfriend ever. And my ex told me, he said, if you ever hug him, because he asked me, he was like, I didn't know you knew him. I said, oh yeah. I said, that was like my first boyfriend in high school. I was like, freshman year. And, I was 28 at the time, 28, 29, 28. And, freshman year in high school, I was like, yeah, that's my nigga. I've known him since high school. And he literally spazzed out and was like, if you ever hug him in front of me again, I'm going to knock him the fuck out and I'm going to beat your ass. Like, that's literally how he was. But then the next week, he was all in his section and then just became so close with my ex. And I was just like, but that's where his insecurities were. It was like he was trying to get close to the people that he thought I would be interested in to make sure that I wasn't interested in them. But he was very loud about it. Like, he just acted like he was that guy. Everybody loved him in public,
Did you know he was insecure at the time, or are you seeing back, and or is this hindsight 2020 where it's like, okay, now I see he was insecure, but at the time, did you know that was insecurity?
At the time, no, I just thought it was him. I don't judge people for being too quiet or for people being too loud. But I know that people are loud for a reason. But I just thought maybe, like I said, he was going through something and I kind of understood it, because I didn't start noticing that type of insecurity until things started getting bad for us. So, but when we were good, shit, we were loud together. We were fun together. But then his loudness just became a different type of loud. Sorry if I sound like I'm rambling. I'll be like in my head when I
No, you're not. You're doing good. No, but I guess I'm asking because, like you were saying, a lot of times when we're seeing things and we're in the middle of it, we don't see, oh, I think the Wi-Fi went out. Hold on. It might be your Wi-Fi. I'll wait till you come back on. Okay.
My bad, bro. Somebody called me and then it shut the whole thing down.
No, it's good. It's good. No, but I forgot what I was saying. But yes, I was just asking because sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you don't see the things that are happening around you until after the fact. But did you have anybody, any friends or anyone that's saying, girl, you know?
I had one friend who met him right when he shifted. Because before, everybody else was like, it's not that they were jealous, but they really did. Like, they were like, fuck. Like, she came up. Like, he was really good. Like, in public and everything. He was just perfect. Then there was one friend who started coming around. And her first time meeting him was the first night that he shifted on me. And like I'm talking about, like where I noticed, I was like, he's just probably having like a really bad day. Like, you know what I'm saying? And she told me, her and this girl named Chi Chi that I have on Facebook, like I have an energy reader on Facebook, and I sent her this picture, and she said he has a very, she said he has a lot of insecurities, is what she told me before he started showing them. She was like, he's very insecure. Like, you might have to be careful with this one. And I was like, but he treats me so good, like, you know. And she was like, okay, if he treats you good, but you know, just be on the lookout. That was the girl on Facebook. And then my friend Sabrina, she was like, friend, mm-mm. I don't like the way he's being with you right now. I was like, he's having like a bad day. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, normally he's like fun. He's the life of the party. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's normally cool. But that particular day, my friend, she was like, no, I don't like him. And she never liked him. And then when he started switching up, it was like, damn, like everybody was right. I was just like, fuck.
Okay.
But I had friends who were asking me why wouldn't I leave, and we all went through that stage. We did. But they didn't understand, so then I felt like I couldn't talk to them about it because I knew they were going to tell me to leave them.
Yeah. But now you said you didn't talk to them about it because you knew they were going to tell you to leave. So then at the time you didn't want to leave it in your mind.
I wasn't strong enough to yet. I hadn't been through enough. I remember it became a point where I just was tallying it up like, it's another reason for me to leave. Just another reason for me to leave. When I'm tired, I'm going to get tired. Like, all right, whatever. Like, I just started like low-key like ignoring stuff. Like, I was just like, I'd bring it to his attention, like, oh yeah, I seen that you was with this bitch, but you know, I don't even care anymore because I was numbing myself up to leave. I was numbing myself. It was like the hurt, I was just taking it. I was like, ooh, because when I leave, this is going to be one of them ones where I just walk away, and that's what it would be. And then once he started seeing the nonchalant nature and the me not really giving a fuck, me not wanting to come around, me choosing to be with other people and my friends and other people instead of me wanting to be around him, then that's when it just, like, it was already going downhill. But once he noticed that I was literally, that he lost me, that's when it became like really bad.
Okay. What do you say about people who think that I guess I don't want to ramble, so I'm trying to figure out how to just say it and not sound like I'm rambling. What do you say about people who think that being in that relationship, you were in it, but at the time you may have been insecure as well?
Mm-hmm. I feel like I came into that relationship very secure, but listening to everything that he started telling me, because he was building me up, believe it or not. Like,
okay,
he loved my music, he loved my artistry, he loved everything that I was doing, my business and everything. But the moment he switched up on me, you could tell he no longer liked me. Like, he started telling me things. Like, I remember one of our last fights, and he was literally just screaming in my face everything that he hated about me. And I remember just looking at him like, okay, well, are you done now? Because everything that he had said a million times before, you know. And I remember thinking, if he doesn't love me, I'll probably find no one else to love me. But then when I stopped only focusing on him, actually realized a lot of people still really, like, people were waiting for us to break up. They were waiting. They were like, damn, I can't wait till y'all break up because I'm ready to date you. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when I actually noticed, I was like, damn, I was like, well, if you don't like me, I'm about to start talking and dealing with people who do like me. And that's where it became a problem, because I remember when I just kept catching them cheating, I was like, well, here, how about this? If you're out there still dating, I'm gonna date too. And I said, because there's a lot of guys who are interested in me and I love this shit. So I'm gonna show them some attention. And he didn't like that. So I was getting insecure until I opened back up and allowed people to talk to me again. And I started entertaining people again in a certain way. And they started pumping my little head up. And I was like, oh shit, I'm that bitch. When we broke up, yeah, I had some issues. Like, I still had my insecure moments, but I felt like for me to be insecure, I think my confidence was like on a 12 though. Like, I had insecurities about him and why he didn't want me. But when it came to everybody else, I already knew who I was, you know? And I told him that. He was like, you'd rather have an OnlyFans than be in a relationship. And I said, well, for one, they're not costing me money. They're giving me money. They tell me beautiful things about me, like what they love about me, how they like to talk to me. And you know what I'm saying? Like, they actually act like they enjoy me. And he was like, you'd rather be out of town, because I was traveling with my friend at that time. We went to Chicago. We had a really good time. And then in January before that, when we were first breaking up, I had went to Hawaii with some friends, and the guys on the trip, they completely adored me. Like, they loved me. I didn't sleep with anybody on the trip, but everybody was like interested in me. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, you'd rather sit here and smile in these niggas' faces, and you ain't even worried about your relationship. I was like, but look at what you're doing. I was like, these people, at least they laughing with me, they joking with me, they dancing with me, we having a good time. It's a good time, you know? I was like, but when I come around you, it's always you telling me what I'm not and what I can't be. And, you know, and that shit weighs on you. I said, yeah, I'd rather be with these people. And I'd rather have my OnlyFans than be with a man who's going to break me the fuck down. So I feel like for me to be insecure, my confidence was on 100, but it was because I opened back up to the world. And everybody kind of reminded me of who I was and who I used to be, who I still am, you know? So.
Okay. So now, just to then wrap it up, in the beginning, you said that you were, I think one of your biggest things was going back out there. So now you're saying if other people are helping you remember, who you are you going to go back out there?
I'm talking about opening up to dating. See, opening up and just being out there, like, yeah, I wasn't really dating those guys. I was just hanging around them. Yeah, so like back then, I'm just talking about like I was really out there on like social media and like kind of like how I am now, except for I was actually with people. Now I'm a little bit more closed off to where, have you ever been to a point where you actually enjoy being by yourself more than being with people? That's where I am. Like, I would really rather Netflix and watch my favorite shows and eat my favorite snacks when I can, rather than choose to be in the company of other people. Like, I know my social media, it goes up every time I post. I'm not worried about the way I look. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about none of that. I know that. It's just back then, I allowed people back in after being closed off to one man. I've been single for a year now, so this is like easy peasy, you know? But I just don't want to be around people. It's hard to fake how I'm feeling in front of people now. So, like, I like to go to sleep when I want to go to sleep. I want to be on my phone when I want to be on my phone. Like, I feel like when you with people, you got to entertain them too much. So I just feel like,
so you just like being around you right now. You're just chilling with you. Yeah. Are you an introvert at nature?
I don't know what I am, because I can go out and have a good time, and then I could really just sit here and be by myself. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll say I'm moderate. I could either be home or go out, so I'm not one or the other. But no,
I used to be out there. I used to have a lot of fun, but now I kind of just enjoy home. And plus, I love my home now. Like, I like the way it is. I like the way it looks. I like where I live. You know, so. I'm happy here.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on to my live because I know that that interview it seemed a little bit short. Like you wanted to say more, you had more to speak about, but it was just quick to the point about different topics, different things. And here on this show, we talk about relationships, marriage, dating, vetting, and all those things. And I had a few questions for you because I, I know a lot of people were confused, at least from what I saw, about okay, so how is it possible that one person is perfect and then they snap? And I think a lot of people had questions about that, and just where your perspective was, where your future is going.
So let me tell you one thing. I did not realize how narcissistic he was. Um, he does the same thing to everyone. Like I've talked to his new girls and all of that stuff, like I said before. And he knows what he has to do to be a great man. He knows how to put on that Prince Charming look and vibe. He knows how to hold you. He knows how to kiss you. He knows what to do to make you fall in love with him. He knows. He knows what he has to do to get you to that point to where you won't walk away when he shows you his true self. You know what I'm saying? And it's a skill. You think that, I don't think that he was perfect and then he switched. I just think that he was no longer able to, like he was being exposed for who he really was. And once the idea, because in my head, it was never there that he could be that type of person. But when people are bringing forth to me who he is or what he could possibly do, now he's afraid that I'm going to find out. And now he can't even control what he's showing me because he's trying to control how I view him and stuff like that. But he did a really good job making me fall in love with him. Really good job. It was just when he felt like he didn't have to act anymore, he stopped acting.
So you're saying now, if you do date in the future, you can see through all the mess now?
Yeah. And I will say this, because this dude who was trying to date me right when we broke up, I let him take me on 2 dates. And I sensed something about him. I saw his mannerisms with everybody else, but he was very sweet and polite to me. But his attitude towards everyone else was very negative and I was like, if you think I'm going to sit here and look at you like you talk to those people about how they brought you your tacos, like this is how you talk about people who fucked up on your tacos, like I can already see how you're going to be towards me. And then I talked to a girl who I didn't even know she was dating him for 2.5 years. And she opened up and told me how he's been treating her. And I told her, I said, for some reason, when he took me out on those dates, I already knew that was a part of him. And that's why I never called him back after the dates. Because I knew, it's like, and I was just telling my friend today that I was like, we go through what we go through so that we can learn the lessons we need to learn. Because before my relationship with the guy I was just with, I wouldn't have been able to tell that guy was just, that he wasn't a good person in general, because he was being very sweet to me, but I paid attention to everything else. And then you also have to pay attention to what people aren't telling you, So I learned a little bit on that. I could tell now. I feel I'm confident in that. At first I was a little scared, but now I feel a little confident in it.
Oh, that's good.
I've been in love bombing, so I know what love bombing is now. So yeah.
Yes, that's good. I'm glad that you see what love bombing is, see all those things, because a lot of people, they don't. They're like, I never saw it coming, but it was coming. It's just the person love bombed you. And I hear this term a lot where people are narcissists and stuff, and people was playing, and some people they get good at the game. So, all right, well, good luck to you. I do hope that you do become a wife one day, if that's what you still want. I hope that for you. I hope you all the best. And of course, and with your condition as well.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for having me on. You're such a delight.
Thank you. No, thank you for coming on.
No problem.
All right. All right. Take care now.
You too.
All right. Bye. All right. Okay. So thank you all for joining over here on Facebook and YouTube on Instagram. So I appreciate you all taking the time to join. If you don't know about my content, you are able to go to mrsdanielledevita.com. I am a relationship and femininity coach. And I'm also a contributor on the Philip Scott Show, which is where I saw Tyler's interview, which is why she was on today. But today I wanted to finish off talking about what I was saying, and then I'm going to go ahead and end the live. So I was talking about positivity today and being more upbeat, not being negative, because that does change our emotions, our perspectives, and how we see the world. So the goal is for everyone, both men and women, to see the world not through one lenses, not through hurt and pain, not through insecurities, like what we kind of talked about today, a lack of confidence, not through those things, but to see things through a positive light. So I do hope that before you leave, that you are able to go out and see the world through reality, but be more optimistic about how you see and view the world. Because if not, we're going to have these issues with men hating women, women hating men, and no one's going to get to know each other. So I do like dialogues where men and women are conversing, so we can see that we just view things differently. But it doesn't mean that we cannot be in a happy and cohesive relationship just because we see the world differently, just because we process things differently. Women use their emotions more. Men are more logical. Not to say women do not have logic. We just process things differently. So nothing wrong with that. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I do lives every Tuesday, Thursday around 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Take care.